Okay, welcome to another episode of the Diplomats as we cover the season 5 Nexus finals, along with my compadres, Audacious Hand, sitting by the fire with a glass of wine, ready to contemplate all of life's problems, and Superstition, the leader of the heart, next to his bed. Very exciting place for him, I'm sure.
It's his
But
best room,
maybe
I told you.
not as much action as what's happening in the game that we're observing. We'll leave that up to fate. All right. So we left off. We had not talked about the winter. We had speculated about the winter of '06 builds. And I was right that Doc would disband Portugal. But I think everybody was a little surprised to see the fleet build in Naples. Or were you?
Yeah, definitely surprised at that fleet build. It really makes me think that Italy just needed that to transition to more fleets. Maybe it had been arranged in some way, but not too sure. It's very unusual.
It is very unusual, but we all predicted an army in Venice. And we'll see how this goes. I mean, I seem to recall Italy using Trieste to build a fleet before and Austria being upset about it the first time. So maybe second time's the charm.
It's okay. Russia's gonna borrow Budapest and Vienna next turn.
So,
Right.
we predicted the Army Liverpool. Any surprise on the Russian disband? I don't know if we really talked about that before.
We did. We all thought it was going to be the fleet in Smyrna that was disbanded. And yes, I'm extremely surprised.
He's basically giving up on St. Petersburg.
Which does make sense since Petersburg is a center you can sacrifice as Russia. I mean, I'm a little surprised just insofar as Germany is at the top of the board right now. You're pretty much sacrificing St. Petersburg to Germany. You're like, once again, kind of Russia is just really does not stick around and fight for his allies. He's kind of leaving England. So I was surprised. I was surprised.
I was definitely surprised. Yeah, you wouldn't think you'd leave England when England needs them the most, but I guess this is what Russia does. It proved it. He's like, fuck everybody else, do my own thing. But yeah, I guess it's more defensible. I don't see the benefit of having that fleet, but I guess it keeps him as a player in the South.
So before I go to the spring 1907 moves, have you guys looked at them?
I have.
I glanced over them. I didn't really kind of absorb them.
I just didn't know if you had any predictions that you be honest in what you thought would happen looking at this board before we see what happened. Are you able to do that? If not, we'll just go right to them.
Yeah, I was really surprised that.
I think we go right to them.
Here we go.
I was really surprised that Austria went back with Russia. You had the pressure. I don't know. That's so weird to me.
I was surprised too because, again, I'm using this term, the grind stab, where you just lie to someone several times in a row. You just use the personal capital you built and just burn it to the ground. I'm really amazed about how Russia managed just to kind of, everyone just miraculously starts fighting each other every time he's at risk. Now you have
he's a tough nut to crack. He's in a good defensive spot. He sacrificed essentially St. Petersburg to get Germany on side.
I mean, he hasn't been all game. He's not a tough enough to crack. He's been vulnerable all game. If you recall, England and Germany, they dilly-dallied about taking St. Petersburg for turns and turns. Germany and Austria kind of have him on the ropes. I mean, Austria's move out of the Black Sea really shocked me. What do you lose by helping Turkey's one fleet?
Yeah,
You know,
because right now it's going to retreat to Bulgaria. You could have pushed it away from your centers.
I mean, you could have convoyed it to Sevastopol for free. There's all sorts of things you could have done. He could have known that Germany's pivoting away. And it's just, yeah. I'm so surprised. I mean, I would have kept the Black Sea, definitely kept the Black Sea if I was Austria. And Ankara would have either supported Turkey to Smyrna, moved to Armenia, attempted to convoy over to Sevastopol. There's just, you could have taken Galicia, with Germany's help. I mean, there's so much you could have done. Yeah, I don't understand it.
Yeah, especially with Italy not building in Venice. I mean, you didn't really need all that effort to go after Italy. I mean, that's always going to be there. He has no reinforcements coming. You could have picked that up in the fall if you were in position.
Well, at a minimum, you didn't need you didn't need 3 units to take Trieste.
No. But even still, you could have kept 2 units on it at all times and taken it whenever you wanted. There's no army within a year and a half. He didn't build an army.
I don't know, guys. Here's the way I'm looking at it. Austria's got an Italian problem. I don't know if they're working together or not because of that non-army build. Austria's got a Russian problem. Everyone's got a Germany problem. Russia and Austria, I think, had to come together in order to win, right? The name of the game is to try and win.
I don't really fully see it. I mean, Italy must have had something worked out with Austria, or thought he did, because he built another fleet. He, instead of an army to defend Trieste, and he moved to Tyrolia. Italy's the only one, along with England, but England's in a purely defensive stance, who's trying to do anything about the leader on the board. Russia, I mean, I guess this just works over and over again, but Russia, he's gone back to playing dead, with just supporting everything, just complete lack of dynamism in his moves. And I guess everyone's forgotten the fact that this is an act and that he is capable of suddenly, reversing into an extremely aggressive set of moves. I'm surprised. I mean, you could have just tapped, if you were worried about it, you could even just tapped Trieste so that, as you guys say, so that you break the support and you get the center if it moves anywhere. Maybe tapped it with Serbia. Yeah, I find it strange. On the other hand, though, I mean, you have to, in Austria's defense, he has been attacked by everyone except Turkey, really, who he, for some reason, knocks out of Constantinople, even though he's the only person who's been willing to help him from the beginning. I mean, I imagine him as just, he's covered in blood. He's traumatized. He's just swinging his knife around, with his eyes gouged out. There's kind of a graphicness to his play that I admire, but at this point, I'm a little bit perplexed.
All right, so let's look at some of this a little more specifically and think about it through. All right. Um, do any of you have any solid idea of what's going to happen? Do you think that this is just a turn of convenience for Russia and Austria, and that we'll still see a potential wintergreen? Because there's room for that.
Well, I mean, I'm just amazed that people are so willing to work with Russia because over and over again, someone bails him out. And then, I mean, he doesn't stab them, but he just kind of goes limp. He let France die. Italy's doing everything to tame Germany, and he just does nothing and supports himself. He stabbed Austria in the most kind of emotionally wrenching way possible. Yeah.
Were you surprised to see Budapest as the mover to Trieste? I'm looking. I don't think it matters. I'm not sure Russia could take Budapest.
Well, I mean, if he's working with Russia like he is in Anatolia, then it makes sense that you'd move your Budapest unit. It gives you a pivot in the north and the south with Vienna and Serbia. So I think it makes sense if you're going to do it at all. I mean, I'm sure it's going to be a Russian Budapest soon anyway.
All right.
I suppose it gives you the best line against Italy, perhaps. Or if he walked into Budapest, he could get it back so long as Russia didn't move into Galicia. Yeah, I find Austria's moves pretty poor here.
Turkey has to retreat to Bulgaria, right?
Well, yeah, but the question is which coast?
Well,
I would say the South Coast.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would have to be the South Coast.
Open. But I mean, what's the deal here? Are they just going to exile him into Bulgaria, or who's getting Bulgaria?
Good question. Yeah.
I suspect Russia.
Yeah, would you trust Russia to help? I mean, I would trust Russia perhaps not to attack me while he holds, but I would never. At this point, I think Russia. He has just shown himself to be someone who always going to keep his options open. He's never going to commit. He's not going to help you in any overt way. You're relying on him to support you somewhere or to attack someone. That seems unlikely. If you're
I think the deal is Russia's going to get Bulgaria.
Russia Bulgaria.
Russia gets Bulgaria. Greece is covered by Italy, and Conk is gone.
So Germany pivots away, and you're just gonna let Russia completely encircle you with armies
from behind. Yeah.
Where does Russia build? He'll only have one place to build. Well, I guess you could build in Warsaw if he moves it.
It's like that, but you left the Black Sea, which was your. I mean, honestly, like it's just. What was that?
There's like a forced march for Austria. You go this way, I'll come right behind you.
It's just, I mean, and the odd thing is, I feel that the only reason why Russia is relenting is because he had the Black Sea. That's what Russia understands as leverage. And actually, even almost, if I recall, in your game with Village Idiot, Ed, he took the English Channel and he just sat there. I mean, I don't know what was going on behind the scenes, but he seems to like, Russia, that's all Russia understands is leverage. And then you're going to move out of the one tile that gives some motivation for him to help you.
Right. Yeah. It was a power play at the time. And he got upset when I stabbed him because I was sick of it.
I'm sure the idea is those two fleets can actually do something versus Italy. but we'll see how long that lasts.
But what is I mean, it's one of those. The Russian-Italian alliance is always interesting because it's an alliance that's both very geopolitically kind of predetermined and useful. But the kind of nice thing about the alliance is that if you kind of betray your partner, there's nothing they can do about it because they're not contiguous with you. So, I mean, Russia's kind of abusing that power, but I don't think Russia really. I mean, what's in it for Russia to push Italy's fleets back? I mean, what is he gaining from that?
No, he's just saying that.
Yeah,
Not
exactly.
getting anything. And Austria is the ultimate ping pong. He's just being knocked.
I just want. Yeah, it is a little bit of a ping pong, huh? Yeah, I mean,
who's Austria going to ally with this season?
Yeah, I mean, I just want a little bit of whatever Russia's putting into everyone's drinks. You know, it seems fun.
Well, I don't think Italy's like in super bad shape here. They lost Trieste. They're going to hold on to Greece, presumably. They've taken Spain, and they have a shot to take Spain and Portugal.
And Paris.
Or Paris.
It's gonna. He will take. If the war in Germany continues, he will take Paris. But
Germany can support out.
What do you mean?
Paris to Burgundy with support.
Burgundy and Paris. There's nothing Germany can do about it. Oh, I see.
England's certainly not going to cut that support.
Yeah, that's true. No, he's right. Yeah, Paris to Burgundy support would work.
So I might double tap Paris to see if I can get in. But
yeah, but I mean, regardless, I mean, what happened here is, this is why I was a little not. Another reason why I wasn't so sure he should have moved Gascony to Burgundy is because, Russia has this history of just kind of going limp the second it's time to act. And I would have, Italy was in a position to kind of play it cool with both Germany and Russia and see who would stick with him. I think he moved a little. I think he got talked into the board was with him in curbing the threat of Germany, and he just got left out on an island as the only one who is fighting Germany. I would have played a little cooler. I mean, the brilliance of his strategy is that he's keeping a kind of reserve of centers. So rather than getting on top of the board and putting a target on his back, he has a few centers that he can take rather easily, especially now that we're getting kind of close to the end of the game. He can go up quick. I think that is the strength of his game here. But I would have almost focused on really just continue to focus on that aspect of the strategy, gaining strategic tiles, not committing to a war on Germany necessarily. I probably wouldn't have taken Trieste, as I said in our last episode. It seems like he had a plan there, but I think blood-covered, abused kind of fighting dog at this point that he's not going to tolerate those kind of little twists and turns. I will say it's a toss-up. I still think Italy has a very good chance of winning this game. But yeah, I think he overcommitted a little bit, and he believed a little too strongly in Village Idiot's virility.
Well, I don't know who has a better chance other than maybe Germany or theoretically Russia. I think Italy's in a good spot.
Yeah, I think I'm starting to really, Germany. I mean, it's getting a little bit late to stop him.
He's going to take Norway.
Yeah.
Well, he's going to have St. Petersburg. He'll lose Paris.
He'll take Norway.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this: where does North Sea
and his
retreat?
swerve to the west was really good. It was decisive. What's that?
Where does the North Sea retreat to?
Probably Skagerrak or York. It's hard.
Yeah, that is a
Well,
tough.
you got things to think about, right? You might go to Holland, but you might go to Denmark. I mean, there's a concern. I mean,
Yeah.
look, Italy's in the English Channel.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, but he really did act strongly and decisively with his pivot to the west.
He did.
And look, and again, Russia, you know, Russia could have really, really kind of thrown a wrench into that, but he went limp. So I mean, what Italy's worst move here has to be the tap of Belgium with Burgundy. I don't know what he was thinking there.
I think he was thinking it might move to Picardy.
Yeah, he might move out.
But I mean, there's no way Italy believed Germany thought he wasn't attacking him. It's so.
I think that he thought Germany might convoy to York or Clay.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't see Germany leaving Belgium open. I mean, I would have said Ruhr would have been the move because you block the shift over, and if you get it, you suddenly have, you know, the backbreaking tile over Germany. So I think that was a little greedy.
It wouldn't have worked either way though, because Belgium supported Munich to Ruhr, so
Right.
they moved to Ruhr.
The move would have been to go to Munich. The move would have been to go to Munich.
I don't quite understand the thinking of the Belgium move, but I don't think the Munich move was necessarily intuitive. So no. I mean, I hear you. I hear what you're saying. I think it's easier to see in retrospect.
It wasn't. I mean, maybe you could have had France tap Belgium and gone into the North Atlantic, depending on how much control you have over France. Which I think he does has the reins on France. Yeah, it's a tough one. I mean, I've got to hand it to Germany. I mean, he's surrounded by enemies, but he's making the right moves. And it looks like he's going to have St. Petersburg.
I was a little surprised he didn't move to Paris. My thought is that would have been.
I think that was all planned with him in France. I think they sucked him into Paris.
Well, yeah, but that means that France must have known what Germany was going to do for that little Congo line to work.
It's pretty obvious that he would try to cover Paris.
Yeah.
I think.
You just suck him in.
So we think if they're all working together, do we think that Spain must be moving to Portugal to keep England with a ship? Or you think that what do you think Italy would do? I think the deal was.
So this is what I think that he's going to. I think what's going to happen there is that, I mean, that Italy now has control over England and France because he can say he's in Spain, so he says, okay, move the Mid-Atlantic do what I do, move the Mid-Atlantic, say the North Atlantic, and I'll move Spain to the Mid-Atlantic so that if England doesn't do as he says, then he loses that center. Now, of course, he could go to Portugal, but then, you know, that's just taking his fleet out of the action again.
I personally would move out of Spain and go to Portugal and then put England into Brest and just take France out. It's just easier working with one person than a coalition.
It is, but you have such a tight collar on France.
Yeah, but France isn't going to want to move out until Paris is locked up. And by that time, you can take it yourself. It's just easier to keep England afloat longer while you funnel your stuff into the Atlantic.
I see what you mean, because as soon as that French in the spring, so he has that leverage.
I like that move, superstition.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah,
because Germany loses what? Paris, Brest, picks up St. Petersburg and Norway. England doesn't lose anything.
No.
Yeah, and you need England to tap Belgium if you want to take Paris. So.
And Italy gets 2 builds.
Yeah, England have to give up Norway and just tap Belgium. Yeah, Paris is pretty much done. Tyrol can tap Munich.
Not bad. I mean, I could see either way. I could see it either way. I mean, France has been a very good little dog. You know, it's hard to give that up sometimes.
I don't know if you can call him a dog. I mean, what is a man supposed to do? Kind of a good little cockroach or ant.
Exactly. He has a collar on. He's on a leash. Well, yeah. When I think of a cockroach on a board, I think of someone who's switching sides all the time and just can't be killed, and people keep coming to their rescue, even though they have a couple units. So, you know, this is
a cockroach.
Cockroach, yeah. But France has been more, you know, I mean, he was Germany's ally, very useful to Germany until Germany betrayed him pretty fast, and now he's been very good to Italy. I think Stitches' move is the best, but I could, if I was weighing the value of the people who I was allied with, I would say that France has shown themselves to be quite pliable.
Oh, but England's never stabbed anyone either.
That is true, though.
And his moves are a little less careless, so probably more to take advantage of there. So.
Oh, even as a stab, anyways, I do think, you know, when I initially was, I mean, England definitely was in the early game dragging his heels. Like he never stabbed Germany, obviously, but he definitely was, I think, being a bit of an annoying partner. Both Italy and England are kind of like that. It seems a little bit. They're gonna go a little slow and not really, you know, do what you want.
Well, Germany's going to have. This is where I want to go back to this retreat. All right, because if Germany doesn't retreat to, let's see, who's the mover to Norway is the question there.
It's hard because you can technically tap everything.
You can, right. And I mean, Belgium's at risk with Burgundy and English Channel with Italy.
Yep.
Holland is at risk. Denmark is at risk. And you would think Sweden's going to have to cover Denmark. And if that happens, Norway gets a retreat to Sweden. So there's a lot of little. I mean, I think there's an important retreat for Germany, more than you guys thought.
And you never know, there might be a Russian support from Norway into St. Petersburg.
That's true.
Just to keep Germany down.
Boy, wouldn't that be devastating? How about couple that with a little move from Warsaw to Prussia, Galicia to Silesia?
That would require Germany actually doing something, and Russia actually doing something. Yeah. I'm not sure Russia wants to do that, but they could do some really nasty things to Germany right now. I think really Russia just wants to defend and wait to take on Austrian dots like it did last time. But yeah, they could really hurt Germany.
I can't wait for after Italy takes Trieste in a kind of attempted, duplicitous cooperation with Austria, and then Austria flips out and takes Trieste back, and then Russia. I just can't wait for Russia to walk into Budapest and Vienna again. That would just make my day. I would love that to be like 1909.
Loaning out centers for a season. Here you go.
Yeah.
I'm coming to collect them.
But I don't know. I mean, I could see Russia turning on Germany again here. I mean, it's getting towards the end of the game, right? I mean, Village Idiot can only play possum times.
There's only 6 moves left.
Can either of you come up with a justification for why Austria is doing what Austria is doing?
Just that Russia convinced them that Italy was a bigger threat. But really, Austria is the only one that can really hurt Italy right now.
It just makes so little sense. Italy has one army. You know, I mean, I need to find a justification. Okay.
I mean, I would have put my Ankara army in Constantinople before leaving the Black.
I mean, I think Austria must have known that Germany was pivoting away from Russia, right? Because without Germany's help, he can't really push Russia. So that, I think, plays a part. I think that Austria felt like he didn't have that Russia, and it is true. I mean, and Germany has also been prone to kind of retreating from his allies. For instance, the term when Germany was in Tyrolia, he could have tapped Venice to help Austria against the Italian threat, and he would have actually taken Venice.
But wasn't Germany there to help Italy?
Yeah, well, I mean, Germany and Austria, right after, I mean, no, because it seemed like, at the time, it seemed like Russia and Italy were working together. Italy was clearly infiltrating armies into the West. Russia had just stabbed Austria in the most emotionally abusive possible way. And it seemed like Austria and Germany were poised to push fairly hard against Russia. But as we know, anytime two people try to unite against Russia, they just end up squabbling and moving away because, you know, as we mentioned before, Russia slips a little something to their drink. So yeah, I think that it must have been, I think Austria is just probably doing the best with the information they have. It's kind of funny because he triple supported into Budapest and then triple supported back into Trieste. So maybe trying to make an example of whoever crosses him, saying, I won't tolerate this. Attacking Constantinople is the one that baffles me the most, frankly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Second question. Did Germany tell Russia that if you let me into St. Petersburg and see that I move west, that I will move the army in Livonia to Norway? I'm sorry, the army in St. Petersburg now to Norway and take Norway. And
yes,
will be free to attack Austria and Turkey and make your move.
It's possible that conversation happened. I mean, obviously Germany has other problems that are not Russia right now.
I think that that's I mean, I think there's I think that's a very strong possibility. I think another possibility is that Germany, it's a spring move, right? Traditional reversal of the move for position, move in the spring, move for centers in the fall. He predicted that Russia would not cover St. Petersburg. That's, you know, when we talk about folds, is, you know, twofold thinking. So it could have just been a clever little kind of move by Germany as well. I mean, your move was good.
Russia.
What's that?
I think it was more of a clever move by Russia. He disbanded there, hopefully getting rid of that pressure and moving it north.
Yeah, I mean, it could be that. I mean, I do think Russia might have disbanded it there thinking that Germany would go for it with the support in the fall. I'm not sure if he predicted the army slipping into there in the spring, but it could be. Russia, I think that, if you were going to give a tactical award and a diplomacy award, Russia has to get the diplomacy award.
Yeah.
Overall in the game, you mean?
Not just this move.
Yes.
All right. Who had? You like to give grades out every move, but I usually do who had the best spring. So you can do either one. Let's rank the order of springs here. We can do it by grades if you want. Turkey.
No, they had the worst.
They had the worst. Turkey's done, right? This is it. Turkey will not live to 08.
I don't know. They could still end up.
They could save them.
Yeah. Why not? I don't think he's necessarily done. He's not gonna win.
No.
He's not gonna get a build. This was his last chance to maybe get a build. I feel bad for him. I mean, I really don't understand why Austria did this to him. But yeah, I don't think it's a real gradable move. He briefly made it back into the realm of grades, and now he's back into the realm of you're failing no matter what.
Maybe Aegean supports Bulgaria's south coast.
Maybe.
Yeah. Honestly, if I was Italy, I would help him. I really would.
Yep.
Why not? And Italy is doing great at moving pawns across the board. And the nice thing about pawns is that when you're using pawns, it doesn't really raise the alarm bells that it does when you're taking the centers for yourself, and gives you that reservoir for the win.
The problem is I'm not sure it's going to work because they're going to have 3 on Bulgaria.
Well, Smyrna can tap too.
I mean, if I was Conk, we've talked about this before, the best pawn is a resentful pawn. I'd be talking to Italy and being – my goal at this point would be screw Austria, screw Russia, Italy, I'm helping you win this game.
But I don't think he can.
No, that is limited. It is a limited. His options are limited.
Okay, Austria.
I'm giving it a D, and I don't usually give grades that low either, but I don't see the logic. I don't see what he was anticipating. Yeah, leaving the Black Sea to me is the worst out of everything he did. Yeah.
I give it a C. He's taking back his home centers. He's got a contiguous line of centers, even though the Black Sea would have gave him a better convoy line to keep everything safe.
Sure, but he actually isn't even guaranteed a build. Because look, so how does he get a build, protect all the centers he has, and guard against Russian attack next turn?
Well, he's got guard against the Russian attack. Austria's entire strategy will be borne out probably at the fall. Right now, if he gets Khan and he gets Trieste.
But where is he going to build? How does he
can build in Budapest? He can build in Budapest, but the question is, what does Vienna do? Which is why I think Russia might snake oil him into moving into Bohemia.
Again,
because Austria really hope's a dangerous drug, like I say in diplomacy.
Yeah, it is. Please don't move to Bohemia again, Austria. Don't just come on.
I would probably self-bounce and tap back.
Or Vienna, I'll tell you what, Vienna might move to Tyrolia, supported by Budapest.
Well, if I would predict that he self-bounces. If I was Russia, give him a militia support and sneak into Vienna.
Yeah, but then if the deal is that he gets Bulgaria, then he's trading 1 for 1, and it's just, I don't know.
Yeah.
You're stabbing something that was going to be given to you.
What do you give him, Ed? I don't see a C here. It's not a passing grade.
I don't see a C, and here's the reason why. I don't think Russia, under any circumstances, can afford Austria to build.
Exactly. Well, he's not the sort of player who will let him build.
He's going to promise him Bulgaria, but I think Russia might have an incredible fall here. We're going to find out.
Could be.
Either way, right? If Austria doesn't trust Russia, then he's not building at all. If Austria trusts Russia, then Russia can take advantage. It's set up good for Russia either way. So, but I don't know what else Austria could have done is why I'm having a struggle grading, because
he could have taken.
I mean, other than
there's a few things he could have done. He could have convoyed into Sevastopol. He should have helped Turkey. I don't get it. I just don't understand why he attacked Turkey. I don't. Yeah. I mean, maybe I'll just. I'm sure
you're right. He could have taken Romania.
I'm sure I'm going to eat crow in the fall, but I'm not seeing it. You could have taken Romania,
Russia,
convoyed Ankara into Bulgaria. I mean, there's so many. When you have the Black Sea, you have so many options. Look at all the different things you could have done. Armenia, you could have convoyed over to Bulgaria so that Russia couldn't have retreated from Romania to Bulgaria. You could have convoyed straight into Sevastopol. He could have done all sorts of things. It's bizarre. Even if he was going to take Constantinople, why leave the Black Sea? Why not support your army in there? Like Smyrna's stuck there in the south. It's not like Smyrna can go into Ankara. It's just Maybe I'm gonna eat crow in the fall, and this is all gonna make sense. But yeah, I'm not seeing it. D.
You give Russia a B?
No, I give Austria a D. Russia, D. I give. Well, you guys grade Russia first. I need to process for 1 second.
I give Russia an A. He did everything he needed to do to get everyone away from him. Germany's cycling away. Yeah, he lost the center, but he's working with Austria again. Austria is completely ignoring him. Demilitarized everything. He can't hurt Russia at all. Austria has no leverage anymore on Russia. Just on Smyrna, that's it. And if he takes that dot and there is war, then Russia can easily neutralize any build locations he's got. So Russia has nothing to worry about. STP is really just his northern front that he lost when he disbanded that fleet a long time ago. So he's holding Warsaw, he's holding Moscow. That's all he needs to protect his core.
The hand isn't going to like this. A++ for Russia. back to the A++. He's got 3 neighbors, all of which moved away from him.
Mm-hmm.
So what is an A++ in percentage points?
So 105 out of 100.
He did some extra credit there.
His cup overfloweth.
It's like he got invited to teach the class at the end of the semester.
I mean, I'll give it an A-. It's almost perfect. I mean, the funny thing, Russia, it's really such a unique style. Sometimes I feel like you almost have to close your eyes to the moves and what he shines when you look at what everyone else except him is doing, if that makes sense. Like he's just sitting there and everyone's just moving away from him, The only reason I give him the minus is just because, I mean, maybe it'll pay off, but I wonder how Italy feels about getting hung out to dry this badly.
Here's the thing for Russia. I think Russia's playing for 9 centers. I don't think he can play for 10. If he goes down St. Petersburg and goes to 5, where's he going to get his next 5 from? It's going to be hard.
Austria.
I think he's well, correct. I mean, Bulgaria, that's the thing.
Budapest, Vienna.
Yeah. God, is he really going to grind stab Austria twice? That's mad respect. You should recruit this guy to the heart, Stitches, honestly. If he does that, I mean.
He's got to. And I think it's in his best interest to put England into STP. That way he can walk back into STP. So
Yeah, I agree with that too. Have that, as we mentioned, have a little bit of a reservoir.
England's not going to stay there.
England would honestly almost not be too bright to do that, but we'll see. He's gotten overextended before out there.
Right now.
Well, no, he'll get a build. He'll get a build probably.
Right, but the thing about getting a build by putting a unit somewhere that is far from the front and vulnerable is that a build, what you get a build that's not at the front and you're putting a unit away from the front, you know, and again, the position matters so much at this point in the game that you're kind of giving up position. You know, it's not just about the builds. It could work.
No, I hear you, but he builds a fleet London, and you know, there's only so much Germany can protect.
Yeah,
keeping Germany down more than anything. You lost Norway anyways.
Yeah, no, I mean, we'll see.
Because otherwise, you're looking at a retreat to Skagerrak or Barents.
But like I said, like I've mentioned, for everyone who's not in the Texan education system, in the School of Ed, A- is a good grade. Everyone, it's a good grade.
Okay. You don't like to give D's, and you don't like to give A's. I've got it. You're in the middle.
The vast majority of people are average.
It is true when parents learn that one half of the kids are below the 50th percentile. So yeah, I understand. Let alone what a standard deviation is. Okay, so Germany.
I think I like Germany's moves better than you guys. I mean, I know that he is facing quite a coalition against him. I think that the pivot west was really decisive and needed. And when you do, you know, you have, what does he have? Four armies shifted over without getting interrupted. That's always kind of a feat. Like, I love that feeling when I do a huge pivot and a giant chain of armies makes that move actually goes through, because it's such a gamble. And, you know, we're giving all the credit to Russia here for just supporting himself and playing possum again. But, you know, Germany also benefit, you know, if Russia had tapped anywhere, he would have been in a much worse position. So I think if I'm going to give Russia an A-, I'm going to give Germany an A-. I think that they both benefited from this to a certain extent.
I agree. After evacuating France, there's not a whole lot he could do on the French front. Tapping Paris seemed like the go-to thing. He just got outplayed there a little bit. But I mean, Paris is a lot easier to hold in general than Brest would be for him. So I'd say good A. He's good.
I'm not sure he could have done better.
No.
So I'm fine with that grade. I actually think it's a year too late. If you remember, I kept saying that Germany and Russia, I think, have to get on side. They have to get on side. I didn't understand why he was continuing to press Russia when he stabbed England.
Mm-hmm. One or the other.
I think it was kept Austria, it could have worked, but yeah, not with Italy. Not with Italy creeping up. Again, Italy really saved Russia here. And as seems to happen to people who save Russia, didn't get anything for it. So maybe don't save Russia. I mean, but okay.
All right, England.
I like England's moves.
I mean, it's tough because they're kind of predetermined.
Predetermined, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna give it a B. They check the boxes. It's kind of tough because he didn't really have the option to shine. He didn't really have the opportunity to shine. But yeah, it's pretty mechanical. So he gets a B.
Yeah.
Well, I give him a B plus. Here's why. I admire someone who knows they're not going to win, and he picked Italy over Germany in the war, right? And he'll live longer, and he will make his goal of, hurting Germany potential reality here.
Well, that's not true. He's at 5 right now, and he's
Yeah.
going to stay at 5. And if Germany's under siege, he has all those coastal centers that he could pick up at the last minute. So he's not out.
I agree with Stitches. I mean, we've talked about this before. England is a power. The powers grow in different ways. England is a power that can grow very rapidly, that just sits dormant and strikes. I mean, it's not likely that he'll win, but it's not impossible. Those coastal centers, like Sid just said, there's a lot of them. There's a lot of open coastal centers all around him right now. Now, it is true with Italy in the English Channel, with Italy having just a big stick held over him. It's going to be tough. I mean, I would definitely be acting as if the reality was, as you say, Ed. I would say, well, I just want you to win. Here, why don't I just support you into Belgium, ground that fleet, something like that,
Ground it, yeah.
Yeah, try to get Italy to ground the fleet as hard as I can, but it's not impossible.
Especially with Austria pushing Italy. If Italy's forced to disband anywhere, it might end up disbanding that rogue fleet that's way out. So it's not over. This depends on how well this Austrian-Russian alliance goes again.
Okay, so I've never played with Poser Tom, who's playing Italy, and I think one or both of you has.
Yeah, together.
Yeah, we have.
There's a real.
We both of us played with him in a qualifying game, and I played with him in the final.
That's where he gets the nickname I gave him, Iceman, and that's why he uses a little snowflake emoji.
Iceman. Oh, I was reacting as Snowflake because he's like a special hipster snowflake in Portland, but that makes sense.
Well, let me ask you fellas this. 6 moves left in the game. Sacrifice tempo against Germany, Gascony to Spain, Spain to Portugal, English Channel to London. There's really...
Yeah. I mean, he has a path to 10 centers. We've kind of circled that as the amount of centers that usually will get you a win in the finals. He has a path. I think that the big 3 here are Germany, Russia, and Italy. I feel like if this weren't a finals, they might have divided up the board, and now it'd be a true power struggle between them. As for Italy's moves, I feel like I'm grading high this turn, but I'm going to give him an A- as well. I think that the tap on Belgium was a little bit of hubris, thinking that would actually be left open, especially when it's obvious he's attacking Germany.
I disagree there just because I wouldn't want to leave Burgundy in the first place. But if I am going to leave Burgundy,
you get
one for a dot next to another dot.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I just would have tapped Ruhr or maybe Munich.
I mean, that would have been nice to get into too.
Solid A for getting France and England on side in a game in which you're poised to do well.
Like
I'm going to give him an A too. I'm going to give him an A. You're right, because of his pawns. He has so many pawns on the board. I still think he's the most well-liked player. And even his plan with Austria wasn't bad. Austria just acted a bit impulsively, in my opinion. If Russia was someone who followed through with people, then having Tyrolia, Burgundy, Russia pushing against Germany, that would have been a good situation. It's not really as completely his own fault that things went how they went.
Okay.
Also, I want to reveal too that I've been rooting for Tom this whole game. It is that when you play with someone, you want them to win. I and it's fun, in our little private chats, me and Stitches have been having arguments about Tom a little bit. Stitches thinks he has no social game.
I didn't say that at all.
Well, you said what he said. You say he appeals to logic rather than emotion. Whereas
I say he's a good salesperson that actually bridges the gap between a social emotional player and a logical tactical player. And I think that's why he does very well, is because the way he phrases things works both ways. But he doesn't.
You can't be both Spock. Hold on. You can't be both Spock and Dr. McCoy at the same time. He's one or the other.
He isn't, but that way that he negotiates appeals to both. But yeah, under pressure, he fought to the very last. He never really cracked. He always kept his options open.
Great resilience. He never gets mad. He never burns his bridges. And he has this kind of reasonable, we were talking about this, he has this kind of reasonable fatherly kind of vibe to him. You kind of want to listen to his sage advice. I mentioned that he's the kind of guy who he makes sure to bring the granola bars on the hike. Like you're hungry and sad, and he's like, no, don't, you're too close to the edge of the cliff. That's dangerous. So like, why don't you come here and have a snack?
Yeah, there's just no temper. Yeah, you used to have a heart, and they're just like cussing you for like a month.
Yeah.
Okay. Lightning round predictions. It's got to be quick. I'm speaking to you, Hand. First, who will be in St. Petersburg at the end of fall 1907?
You want me to be quick with that? Stitches,
Superstition. Thing, you're already gone. You say Germany?
I don't know.
I want England to be, but I don't expect Russia to do anything, so Germany.
Yeah, I concur.
I say Germany also. Will France be, sorry, who will be in Bulgaria at the end of spring 1907?
Russia. One way or the other.
No, I think it will be Turkey. I think that Italy will hold Turkey there.
I don't think you can.
I don't think you can if they wanted to. I say Russia.
They'd have to commit 3 units to taking Bulgaria. I don't know.
Well, Smyrna can tap Aegean if it's Russian. If they're promising it to Russia, Russia's going to tap.
I just don't think Russia doesn't help people in any
He's
kind
helping
of
himself.
way.
If Romania is going into Bulgaria, Smyrna's going to tap.
I'm still predicting somehow. I'm predicting that in 1910, Conch the Magnificent will be in Hagia Sophia again.
Well, here's how it could happen. Is there a chance that Ankara moves to Smyrna supported by Black Sea, thus allowing Italy to continue to support Bulgaria?
Yeah, there is a chance.
It's possible.
All right. Will it happen? Yes or no?
No.
No.
I think with Austria's attack on Trieste, it looks like he needs that fleet, that Russian fleet, to even make any kind of.
No, man. Austria at this point, he's traumatized. He's covered in gore. He's revved up his chainsaw. I think, now, Ed, now you mention it, I think that will happen. I think that's why he left Black. Now it makes sense.
The whole game is just violently flailing.
Yeah. That's I somehow hadn't seen that. That's, to me, that would be the only explanation to leave the Black Sea.
He just has razor blade leather armor just running over.
Yeah.
Running into people.
Yeah. That could be it. I could see that. I don't think that this is Conch's last year. By the way, what's the record for how far a game in the finals has gone without anyone being eliminated? I wonder. We'll have to get some nerd like us to look that up.
Yeah. Keith, get on that. Superstition, get on that. Or whoever. Yeah. Anyway. All right.
To do it.
Okay. Will Russia be in either Budapest or Vienna at the fall of 07? and default.
Yeah, I think it's likely. I'm seeing history repeating itself here.
If Austria self bounces like it should, then
I mean,
nobody
I
should be
guess
in Budapest.
is the militia support just too cool and flashy for Russia to do? I mean,
I just feel like Bulgaria is like a sure thing and Budapest is not. That I would take the sure thing.
I don't know. I could see Russia attacking Austria here.
All right, so lightning round. Will Italy take Paris or Iberia?
I still like Portugal, Paris.
Yeah,
But
I think he
Belgium
will
is
take,
not out of the question. He could always support the Belgium.
We're going to support Belgium or cover Holland, I guess.
Or cover Holland. You can't cover them all.
Yeah, I think he'll take Paris.
I think he'll take Paris. It's easier. He's
I
got
think
more
he'll
armies
take
there.
Paris and maybe Portugal. If he does take Spain, it's because he tries to move to mid-Atlantic or tells England to do something and it doesn't happen. He's like, well, you didn't do what I said, so I have Spain now. So I think he's going to get a center from Iberia. I think he'll have Paris. Going to lose Trieste. Yeah, he'll get a build.
Chances North Sea retreats to Helgoland and bite.
None.
0.
Why
Zero.
not?
I think it's
The
greater
worst
than
position.
0.
Why is that?
I think it's greater than 0
Because
because
he's got to cover centers. He's either got to cover Denmark because Sweden can't.
you can self-bounce in
necessarily-
Denmark. You can self-bounce in Holland. A lot of things that you can do with that fleet. I don't know what he's going to do. I think it's a huge call.
I think it's Helgoland, Bite, Denmark, or Skagerrak, and probably Denmark.
All right. Last words. Any last words? We've worded Spring 1907 to death.
I'm really excited to see what happens around Spain.
All right. Last question. Who will win the finals?
Ooh. Well, I'm going to speak with my heart. You know, it's funny. The first game, Stitch was in this game too. The first game I played with Tom, I would call him, because the first 3 letters of his name were POS.
Piece of shit.
So I would just call him POS, pretending like I didn't realize what that implied.
That was funny.
Yeah.
I did the same thing.
And then I call him by his self-deprecating name, Poser Tom. And now my love has grown for my granola friends to the point where I truly believe and wish for authentic Tom's victory.
Superstition?
I like Italy's position. I think after that, if Russia stabs to a point where it can win, I think Italy will make more gains than Russia can. So I kind of root for Italy too, so it's hard.
I also predict that Ed is about to say Russia. Let's see if I'm right.
Actually, the reason I'm not going to say Russia is I think Italy's proven in his play that he's not going to go for a 07 stab and make himself a target.
So you're with
think if he continues to just press, but has Iberia for the taking whenever, I think he's got the best chance at preserving. But I certainly think Russia's a close second. I don't think Germany's going to be able to keep these centers. The board is very fluid. If Russia can somehow keep St. Petersburg this turn, I really do like Russia's chances in this situation.
Yeah.
I guess, and Smyrna. We'll see if he's able to keep both. But given just the way the board looks without knowing the diplomacy, Italy's position looks good, especially with, he's guaranteed at least 1 build, but probably 2.
So Doc did put in the public chat, he was taking bets on who's gone first, France or Turkey, France or the Ottomans. Do you guys want to take that bet? What do you guys think?
Probably the same time.
Do you think simultaneous? That'd be hot.
I think simultaneous, or I hate to say it, not that I don't like both players, but I think Conk will go first, if not, or simultaneous.
Doc's got a little bit more life possibilities. But
yeah.
Not much, but some.
I'm going to go simultaneous.
But simultaneous.
I mean, I think this. I think Italy thought Doc was going to support him into Belgium. Well, maybe not. Otherwise, why would he have cut it going to English Channel? All right, maybe not. But that would have been sweet.
He didn't. I think that was just a beautiful move. Like they just sucked him into Paris and had that little daisy chain set up. That was great.
That's if I was Germany, I would have left too. I mean, you had 2 units on Brest. Most likely, you're going to lose it.
Yeah.
All right. We've gone way too long, and actually, I don't care. And I don't care if you like this video. I don't care if you dislike it. I don't care if you subscribe. It means nothing to me. I don't have a Patreon page. I think Hand has a Patreon page for kayaking, but I'm not really wine. I should have a Patreon page for cigars, but we're going to call it a night, boys. Thanks so much for your help.